Ended that abruptly. Sorry. Good morning. I didn't mean to do that. I just hit remove. Remove. Good morning. I hope everyone's having a decent morning. You're sitting there sipping your coffee, tea, whatever, carbolicious if that's your boat. And you're just sitting there, just quietly thinking to yourself what needs to be done, what needs to be what you've accomplished, and how can you make yourself better, not in a motivational rocky let's go, not anything like that, but more of a how can you be a little bit more calm, a little bit more focused, and not let the world around you get absorbed. I failed. Yes, I'm going to say that one more time. I have failed. It's a great Crowbar song, by the way. Look that up. Crowbar, I have failed. Beautiful song. Beautiful song. And where I failed at was it seemed like everyone around me and everybody I talked to online, everybody I talked to on the phone, we're all going through some stuff, myself included. And I finally, it's funny. DIY called me. He'll call me and he vents to me issues that he's dealing with. Well, yesterday it was the other way around. I guess that's how a good friendship works. And he was calming me down because I was just like, because it was so quiet. Like my email didn't go off at all. My phone never went off at all. And I'm going to get to your comment here, Sage, but and with the things that we're dealing with at home and just everybody's just, it's February, man. It's winter. And we're going to go over some weather stuff too because there's a lot going on weather-wise. It finally got to me. It finally got me like in this funk. And so it was like in the high 60s yesterday. I went for a walk. Now I've done that in the truck too. Find a good rest area, just walk, even if it's 10, 15 minutes. Get you out of the truck, get you the fresh air, and get you thinking, get you out of that box. While I'm not in the cab of a truck right now, and notice I said right now, not at all. This is still a box right here. This computer desk is not ideal. There's a lot of renovation I have to do here if I want to make this a comfortable space, but for now it'll do. Tennessee Trucking got me a chair, so I appreciate that. And anyways, I just had to go for a walk. And of course that's when the phone rang. But at that point I didn't have anybody to dispatch. I was waiting for one broker to call me, but they never did. And it was just it was much needed. And at the end of the walk I didn't feel like I accomplished anything because my mind was still going 100 miles an hour, but you know what? It had some effect because I went to bed not so heavy on the heart. So look, we're all going through a tough time. I don't care if you're in the spot. I don't care if you're contract. I don't care if you're not even a driver. We're all going through a tough time. February is a tough month. And the just remaining calm, and I don't want to be the guy that gets on YouTube and act like I'm holier than thou and just yell at you and just, I don't want to be somebody like that. And there's a lot of people like that right now in and out of our space. They're telling you that the world's going to end. They're telling you that this is coming. They're telling you that this is coming and this is coming. You know what? It's knowledge of that stuff, but you got to realize a lot of people are exaggerating things to get clicks on their videos. So you have to look at the intention of what they're putting out. And it gets frustrating. It's tough. You know, someone sends you a call or an email that makes you go, "What are you doing, man?" And it's frustrating because you have in your mind what it should be, what it was for you, but not everybody has the same upbringing. Not everybody has the same beginning. Not everybody's origin story is the same. So, anyways, let's go over some comments, and then I want to check out the weather because there's a lot of alerts. There's a massive storm, and even the Weather Nation was like, yeah, if you're in Minnesota, don't go anywhere." So that's how bad it's going to get. Don Schonger, hello. Sterling, good morning. Mr. Charles, what's up? Pigtail Tuesday special, yo. Morning, drop some knowledge. I don't know if I'll do that, but we will definitely try. You're a pretty smart man, so it'll be hard to bring you something that maybe you don't know. Morning, all. Have a blessed day, David. Hope the CDL thing is doing okay. And just learn, man. Just learn from everybody's negative experiences. So, CDN Freight Broker, good morning. So, oh no, I'll get into that here in a little bit. Flatbed Trucker, hello everyone. Oh, by the way, thank you everybody for going to CDN's channel and showing him some love. When I checked in the morning, he was at 71, and then by the time we were doing it, or the night before, he was at 71 subscribers. And then by the time I was doing my live feed yesterday morning, he was at 131. I don't know where he's at now, but I'm sure the number's even higher. Flatbed Trucker is saying hello, everyone. Sterling, Metalheads Unite. Form of truck drivers. Desert Oaky Pam, good morning. Trucker Jason, good morning. Alfalfa with a little truck. CB, what's up? Oh, yeah, getting our daily dose of Snorelord. Thank you, Don. Sage says imports down 17% in January. Of posted link on community page. Yes, Sage, check out his community page. And yeah, imports are about as low as they were in 2008. Is that correct? If that's the case, man, it's February's not over yet, man. So it's going to be critical that you have some things in line to keep on going, right? I will be squeezing between the weather this week. There you go, Tom MacArthur. Good morning. Got offered a dedicated run yesterday. I want to run by you. It's variable 2 to 4 times a week. Yes, feel free to call me. It's a round trip, by the way. My operation manager wakes up around 3 a.m., dying breed, and has 2 hours of reflection time, he calls it, before the phone calls and the BS. That's what I do. Now, this morning I got up a little bit later, but for the most part, I wake up about moderator, put CDN's channel in the chat, please. I wake up about 4 or 5, and I and I just kind of just sit there. I just kind of I sip my coffee, and or tea, depending if I'm going caffeine-less that day, and just I don't know, just reflect. I would call it meditation, call it prayer, whatever you want to call it. There you go, Dime Breed. Thank you very much. Nothing witty. Also on top of it. And I apologize. I was supposed to send you that. Big deal. I'm sorry. I was a space case yesterday. That one guy, how's the freight looking? We'll get to that. Fate Trucking, $25. Thanks for always bringing us good content. Many of us appreciate all you do. Thank you, Fate. I appreciate you very much. I got a question for you, Snorelord. Jason, shoot. Go for it. Double link, take your pick. So while Jason is typing out his message, let's take a look at some weather first. And I had a subscriber say, "Hey, you know what? You saved my butt by showing the weather." So I thought, you know what? We'll do that. I also told Pale Rider, you should put the weather out. I gave Pale Rider a quick impromptu lesson about how to deal with StreamYard with one screen, and it's very doable. It's kind of annoying, but it's doable. So, um, but anyways, look at that crap. That is essentially the entire western half of the United States is in some kind of turmoil. You have you've got blizzard warnings in South Dakota, Minnesota, a touch of Iowa. You have winter weather warnings from Wisconsin all the way to the coast, West Coast. I believe. I hate these color. You got a winter storm watch throughout Michigan. Winter weather advisory surrounding all these areas. The entire state of Wyoming is a no go. It's either blizzard or winter weather warning. And you've even got some red flag warnings in Panhandle of Texas, or the Upper Panhandle, the Amarillo area. And then looks like I-40 might be a bear to get through. And then you have some high winds. My truck in Phoenix is like, yeah, I'm going to stay home a couple of days because the winds were supposed to be pretty bad. They were talking about, I think the driver was telling me about 85-mile-per-hour gust and 45-mile-per-hour sustained winds in Wyoming yesterday or over the weekend. So, and then the upper Northeast, you have, upstate New York and all that, Vermont, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, you have, in parts of Maine, you've got some winter weather advisories. Then down here in good old Tennessee, you have, looks like fog. So, so a lot of weather to look at. So, we'll just leave that sitting up there while we read some comments. Mark, what's up? Good morning. What are the freight rates from Phoenix area to Brooklyn, New York? That's a great question. What type of trailer, Jason? Once you tell me the type of trailer, we'll get to it. Thank you, everyone. I'm humbled by the channel support. Tennessee, a caffeine-less Snorelord. Then how will we have morning coffee with Snorelord? Well, I guess it's not 100% caffeineless. I mean, you got green tea, which is more of a low dose, steady dose kind of a deal. I'll do that at times. So, but I love my coffee. I'm not as quite as obsessive about it as Pale Rider is, but I do love my coffee. Flatbed Trucker says I-80 in Wyoming is closed. So there you go. Good morning. My name is Nobody. TC Boggs, what's that pink blob in the Texas Panhandle? That is the red flag high wind warning. In other words, if you can't burn anything, that's what that was. For dry van freight. All righty. Let's get to it. Phoenix, Arizona to Brooklyn, New York. Well, I can tell you it's not going to be high because it's Phoenix and it's dry van. So, Phoenix. I've been trying for years to make a steady run out of Phoenix to Midwest and back, but they don't want to pay. Brooklyn. All right. Well, we're going to have to put any date on this because there's nothing today. Wow, there's okay, so we're going to have to expand the radius here. 200 to 200 miles. Let me get the screen on here. Search. Well, first problem I see, Jason, with that run is that, well, volumes kind of suck. So what 123 low board does is it says, hey, you know what? We ain't finding nothing in your specifications, but here's some stuff that you might want to do. For example, it's got Phoenix to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They call it similar loads, and DAT does the same thing. San Diego to Tobyhanna, San Diego to Marcy, New York, which is 184 miles from Brooklyn. You got Paris, California to Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. So obviously, California to PA is going to be a little bit more prominent. So you have Phoenix. So there's one load on here posted, and it's not even an accurate rate because they're calling it 49 cents a mile. So it's a van or flatbed. So my guess is that it's a partial. And the average rate is $1.75 on this low board here to get from Phoenix to Brooklyn or that part, but you're going all the way up to Massachusetts. So let's look at this Phoenix to Pittsburgh, which is actually further than New York City. But to get from Pittsburgh to New York City, so you'd have to do that in 2 jumps. And the average rate on that is $1.72. They're offering $1.98, so that they're above the average on that. Trade show material. Well, there you go. It's a specialized product. Look, anything that you guys and gals can do to specialize. I mean, I know TC Bog's been talking about that on the company side, but on the owner operator side, it's the same principle. Do the stuff that no one else wants to do. Going to Brooklyn, New York is something that not a whole lot of people want to do. Unfortunately, the carriers that want to do that, especially if they come out of Phoenix, guess what? They've already got it in the bag. That stuff probably doesn't even hit the spot, because if I was a broker in CDN, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm a broker, I would probably have to recognize the challenges of trying to get trucks, especially out of the West, into Brooklyn or, Queens or any of the boroughs in New York City. And the thing that makes that difficult is the tolls. What's it cost now to cross the GW? I don't even know. I've never crossed it as a truck driver. I crossed it as a passenger, but I've never crossed it as me paying the bill. So, but but if you're willing to go to the places that no one wants to go to, and so this load here, or which one was it that was the trade show? Wasn't that one? It was yeah, it was this PPG booth number 402. So Phoenix to Pittsburgh, obviously you're probably going to go to a convention center or something inside Pittsburgh, so that's going to be a challenge. I've driven in the city of Pittsburgh. It's not the easiest city to drive around in. And they're paying almost $2 a mile to come out of Phoenix. I could probably get them up to $2.50 on that, because trade shows have a budget, and they recognize that going into a large city like Pittsburgh is going to cost. The fact that it's in the spot is kind of surprising to me, to be honest with you. But there's not much here So that's something in 3 of these. Let's see what this Paris, California to Shippensburg. So your best bet, if you absolutely have to make Phoenix to Brooklyn work, let's say you're getting some dedicated stuff out of Brooklyn, here's what I would do. You're going to have to either two-step it, maybe Phoenix to Dallas, Dallas to Brooklyn, or maybe Phoenix to Cali, Cali, and then from Cali go all the way across, which is obviously what's happening on this low board here. Humid and foggy in Florida, but way better than wind and ice and snow. No thanks. Absolutely. I'll take fog over all that any day. Except frozen fog. Frozen fog. So, but obviously not a whole lot of volume. So, so more than likely you might have to two-step it. My guess is see all the loads that go into Brooklyn, and then if you can get Phoenix to that. And Phoenix is a tough market in van anyways. I mean, whenever I got to get a truck out of Arizona, man, usually here's what happens, right? So a path could be Phoenix to Denver, and then Denver, a shorty to Kansas City, and then Kansas City can go wherever you want, usually in a normal market. I don't even it's been so jacked up. I don't even know what a normal market is anymore. The season's just like the weather, it's more extreme. Like for example, it's going to be 70 degrees today, and then by Thursday it's going to be in the 30s. That seems to be what the spot market is doing. It's going from hot to cold to hot to cold, instead of just, how about we just have lukewarm all the way across? But that's not how supply and demand works. SST, what's up? Shannon, good morning. Truck Pilot Nate, good morning, trucking folks. Twitch, good to see you. Twitch is named after the infamous gaming platform. Thanks for the help, Snorelord. I do what I can. Exactly. Whatever you can do to give yourself leverage and keep you moving. If I had a reefer, I'd be trying to find refrigerated hazmat or refrigerated pharmaceutical. There was a lot of that at Landstar that paid extremely good, because, I mean, you probably have to have a little bit higher insurance on some of that. So, I mean, that's, if you have a flatbed, the equipment, step deck, the equipment, have the ramps. I've got somebody that needs to get a semi truck from Texas to New York or New Jersey. I can't remember. And I was like, I don't know anybody that could probably do that. So, what is y'all's feelings about heating the trucks with sand batteries? A very interesting and low cost concept. I've never even heard of that, so I have no thoughts on it. I've never even heard of sand batteries. So, it's like 150 west to east, free east to west. I cross it about every 10 days. Stuart, good morning. So now let's do this. So we're going to work on this Phoenix thing, right? So let's do a new search. 200 mile Phoenix to Denver. Denver Co. It's worth the research. Cool trucking. Good to do. Good to know. Let's hit search. One load. See, this is what I'm talking about. Obviously, San Diego's the place to be. You got San Diego to Loveland. They're at 264 mile on that one. So, but that's not until March 3rd. Remember, I've got this on any date. Okay. And so somebody that lives in Phoenix is probably like, wow, that kind of sucks. But here's Phoenix to Denver for actually today. It's Pepsi Logistics, which I believe Pepsi Logistics has different insurance requirements. You can't just be a straight Progressive 100,000 person. And the market is steadily like taking a dump for the last, last year. So the average rate is $1. That's actually higher than I thought. The average rates I was seeing coming out of Phoenix was $1.70 to $1.80. But this is going to Denver, so you should be able to get at least two. And so now let's look at Denver. So here's what we do. So now so there's that one. So you call Pepsi and say, how often do you have these? Can I be put on a list? And can I call you every morning to see if you got one of these? And so let's do a new search. Flip this around and do Denver to Brooklyn. Brooklyn, New York. Interesting fact, I used to live right outside of New York City. No loads available. Oh man, let's up this 200 to 200. Nothing. So no exact loads. There's one possible, and look, it's Denver to Pittsburgh. Hey, it's that trade show by a different broker. Imagine that. For March 2nd. So obviously, okay, so check this out. So the other load was delivering to Pittsburgh, and then this one is coming out. Well, no, it's coming out of Denver. So obviously, there's something going on in Pittsburgh that there's different people sending trade show stuff. So here's what you have to do. So obviously, the Denver route's not going to work. But obviously, you can get to Pittsburgh pretty easily, either out of San Diego, Phoenix, or Denver. All right, so let's do this. New search. Let's look at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh pie. Let's do 150 each. Search. Boom. Now, some of this is PA to PA, so if you don't have Missouri or Pennsylvania interstate, then you probably don't want to risk it. So let's sharpen this. Let's sharpen this up a little bit. Let's do 50-mile radius of Brooklyn. You go down as low as 10 if you want. All right, here we go. So you've got West Mifflin to Tottawa, New Jersey, 21 miles from New York City. So you've got New Eagle, PA. That's your closest one here. $900, 251 or $2.51 a mile on the average. Well, 255 on the average. But it's a shorty, right? You're only doing what, 358 miles? So there you go. So if you're trying to get back from Phoenix, back to Brooklyn from Phoenix, Phoenix to Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh to, because look at all this. So obviously, oh, whoa, check that out. Doink. Loads are going fast. So let's refresh that. Let's do the highest rate here. Look at, here's Columbus, Ohio, 161 miles from Pittsburgh going to Brooklyn, New York. $289 a mile, $1,600 for 1,600 miles for 553 miles. Let me rephrase that. $1,600 for 553 miles. There you go. Plus deadhead, obviously. It's a load of FAC, which that's common. Freight of all kinds. So there you go. So do a load from Phoenix to Denver, Denver to Pittsburgh, or Phoenix to Pittsburgh. Do Columbus, go into Brooklyn. So at that point, it's just time. So that's how you find that, right? And Shannon, I still need to do like a live stream with you showing how we can, how you find and develop your lane. And I guess part of this is kind of towards that as well. So I mean, now this is what I do now for people. People call me and say, "Hey, I'm trying to develop something here, and I'm looking at this. I'm looking at a dedicated run that's going to do this." And so that's what I do. It's like let's take the low board and let's look to see what we can possibly do. Hagerstown to Reading, Carlisle to a lot of PA intrastate. And so the other element you have to research is the tolls. What's that going to cost? Because I know people that put like $5,000 a year into tolls that live up there. So Cool Trucking says it's worth the research. DIY home, sweet home. It's good to see you in the house, literally. So, but as you can see, Arizona. Let's put this on van because that's a little. So you can click on the state and see where all these loads are coming from or going to. So you got Glendale to see Cali, Oregon, California. Here's one to Louisiana, Orlando, Tolleson to Orlando. That's a common run. Now here's something I'm going to point out. Okay, so we have Cargo Barn posting Tolleson to Orlando, and Tolleson to Medley, Florida. Okay, I'm going to assume that this is the same load, and here's why. The weight is exactly the same, 40,562 pounds. Picks up tomorrow. On one, they've got 3,700. And the other one, they've got 4,000. Now, here's the thing. At 3,700, it looks like it's $1.72 a mile. And this is where the rate per day has to kick in. Okay. For 2,149 miles. Now, the other load, quote unquote, is 2,377 miles. So the rate per mile is actually lower, but they're paying $4,000. So when you call on this load, you got to figure out where it's actually going to. And you sit there and you say, "Hey, where's this actually going?" Now, sometimes they'll put in the description, "Oh, this load actually picks up blah blah blah." Now, the broker will sometimes use the excuse that, "Well, no one knows where Medley, Florida is, but everybody knows where Orlando is." Okay, but that's still what? A difference of 100 something miles. So if you're obsessed about rate per mile, by the time you do the math and everything, this load will be gone if you even want to do it. So let's take a look at this one that says $4,000. It picks up tomorrow and doesn't deliver until Tuesday. That's a full 7 days under that load. So when you look at 4,000 divided by 7, that's $571 a day. Now, check this out. Let's say that you're an 80/20 company times 0.8. That's $457 a day before fuel. So it's 40,000 pounds. This is important. Watch this. So there, let's say that you're not a negotiator. You're doing it for that $4,000. Okay, 2,377 miles divided by 7 miles to the gallon. Because maybe you were smart and you bought a non-hood truck, and it's got great fuel mileage. Very possible. That's 300, basically 340 gallons of fuel. 340 times 4.5 average price of fuel. That's $1,500. That's $1,530. So 4,000 times 0.8 is 32 minus 1,540. You have a net after fuel in percentage of 1,660 on a $4,000 load. Divide that by 7. That's $237 a day. So would you do that load? Can you do that load? That's the challenges that we have right now. That's the challenge of going to a bad market. There was a time when you could get 10 grand to go from California to Florida. There was a time where you can get, 8 grand in a van. And so part of the issue that I had yesterday is so many people are waking up and realizing that I'm working for $237 a day. You do that math and it's quite striking. And then you sit there and go, why the hell did I go out to Phoenix? Now, if you live there, you have no choice. So you have to be smart about your money. You have to be smart about your market. I would not do this load simply. I would not do this load for many factors, because you get to Florida, people, $1.10, $1.20, or you're going to deadhead. You might deadhead to a $2 mile load, but then if you put in the all miles, you're still at $1.10, $1.20. But then you have the time. So next thing you know, you've ran. Let's say you do $2 a mile because you're awesome out of Jacksonville, going up to, say, I don't know, Ohio. That's about a day's drive, 2 days drive. So now, if you're not delivering till Tuesday, and then you have to deadhead up to Jacksonville, and so you're looking at possibly Friday delivering in Ohio for what, $2,000? So you're at $6,000, right? Is that right? 4, 5, 6, yeah. You're at $6,000 for a ton of miles, so your clock's all spent. So you've done $6,000 in 10 days. There you go. It's the time. Now, if you can get $6,000 in 5 days, now that's what I'm talking about. And so how do you come up with that? And that's the challenge. Is if you live up in the Northeast, you can probably achieve that a little bit easier than, say, if you live in Arizona. Or if you just wanted to bounce from California to Washington and back. But the problem with that is you got the weather, you got the mountains, you got the higher cost of fuel, you got the higher traffic volumes. So it's a challenge. And these are the things that you have to, one has to figure out before you sign the dotted line on that truck. If you're in the spot market. Now, if you're on a contract carrier, then what do their contracts pay? What do their contracts do? What's their freight like? Just like even as a company driver, you have to okay, I only want to run certain areas. What areas do you service? And there's not a whole lot of companies like back in the day that would service all 48 states. A lot of them tend to stay regional. Like RBX here in Springfield, they don't go out west. The most west they go is Texas. And I believe they don't even go that much northeast as well. So if I wanted to stay in Midwest, that would be the carrier I would get on with. Same thing with now Transland out of Springfield. They kind of go all over, but they have lanes. They'll go to Salt Lake a bunch, or they'll go to Ontario a bunch, or they'll go to Fife, Washington a bunch. But it's not like. But then you get a load right back. Usually, you're not zigzagging. This is why I'm here. Cool trucking, Mr. Snorelord, tremendous help in finding these loads. Well, thank you. Pumping in, coming off East Coast right now, $1.10 tops. Wow. And that's the other elements in the Northeast. Let's take a look at Maine. No, let's not. Let's see. Let's take a look at Massachusetts. Now for the Northeast, you got these things right here, right? This has got to be a partial $500 to go from Massachusetts all the way to Augusta, Georgia. Yeah, LTL. Oh, here we go. $1.40 a mile to come out of Spencer to go to Elkton, Kentucky. 24-hour shipper, so that's good. A little bit of leniency. Load up and get the hell out. And that puts you within striking distance of several decent states. Here we go. Nationwide's got 3,200 to go from Massachusetts, Chelmsford, Mass, going to Jackson, Mississippi. Oh, look, it's multiple stop van load. Nashville, Tennessee, Verne, Tennessee, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. That's why it's paying considerably more. They're at 3,200. The average is at 26. Again, specialized, right? Well, I ain't doing no multiple stops. That sucks. Oh, okay, excellent. More for me. Notice Jersey's always lit up. It's because of the ports. Even though port freight is down, let's see what we got. EXO's got a bunch of stuff going to Winter Haven. Here we go. New Jersey to Waukesha, Wisconsin. What's the average rate on that? $1.64. They don't have a posted rate. Machine parts. Not your typical, bump the dock product. Here's a 1-day run. North Bergen, New Jersey to Garner, North Carolina. Picks up today, delivers tomorrow at 1 p.m. That may not be bad. Fifth wheel freight, $1,200, $217 a mile is what they got posted. Van or reefer, 40,000 standard. Oh, it's alcohol. So do you have the permit? Do you need a permit for that? I've got a video about that. Now, if they're saying alcohol, it could be. I know that heavy spirits come out of Jersey. So more likely that's what that is. So you got to check your permits. That's why it pays so much better. Again, specialized. And he's smart by putting in the posting because he doesn't want, oh, I can't haul that, or I will not haul that, So There you go. But that'd be a good, what are you going to get out of North Carolina? So I mean, there's so many factors, right? Here's Edison, New Jersey. Dart has this going from Edison to Holiday City, Ohio, 607 miles. Picks up tomorrow, delivers Friday. Holiday City, that's a good place to land. Now the rate's kind of low, but if you can get them up to $1,000, that'd be good. If not, so you're looking at what? So if it's a 2-day run, they're putting it on 2 different days. Um, then 950 divided by 2, is that minus fuel and tolls coming out of there? So I mean, these are what you have to deal with. So I encourage people that are thinking about buying a truck or leasing a truck that want to work the spot market. This low board will help you come up with a plan. Will help you anticipate. Now, are the average rates lower than the DAT? Yes, because of the brokers that post on here. We're trying to, 123 is trying to, attract, more brokers. If you're a broker, you can post for free on here. But here's the thing: if you can make these numbers work, now it's not always lower than DAT. It just depends on what program you got at DAT. You can pay the 200 some odd dollars a month for the thing that tells you the 7-day or the 14-day or 15-day average. And even then it's not even accurate. So these averages, they're accurate, but they're not. It kind of gives you an idea of what markets drop. Like, obviously Phoenix to Brooklyn is a lot cheaper than, say, I don't know, Wisconsin to Brooklyn. And just recognize it. But if you can make these numbers work with your costs, with your expenses, and do a business plan off of this, and you're willing to do it, boom, there you go. How do you ask more for on multiple stops? Well, that's up to the individual driver. So number one, I wish I could go back to that multiple load. So here's what I do. Let's say there's 5 stops. And what you do is you get on your phone and you say, "Hey Google, how far is it from here to here?" Write that down. "Hey Google, how far is it from here to here?" Write that down. Write down all the mileages so you get the total miles. If the broker's good at what they do, they'll have those total miles within 10 or 12 miles of Google. Okay? If they're not, then whatever, right? So, but you got to have that calculation ready. Okay, and that's in that description. It showed the different stops. So, how much money do you want per stop? Now, the stops could be if they're grocery warehouses, are the stops tractor dealerships, are the stops just bump docks, or their warehouse, simple warehouse. And so you want to ask the broker, how quick are these stops? Now, if they're grocery warehouse, you're probably going to do a stop a day. And so now you're looking at, if it's only paying $3,000, but it's 4 or 5 days, that ain't going to do you any good, even though it might be like $3 a mile. So you have to equate the mileage and the stops and the type of stops and charge accordingly. And then what you're going to do is you're going to come up with this crazy high number, and they're going to go, well, we've been moving them for blah, 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 blah. So now you got to have to do your math over again, whether you can, so here's what I do. Okay. So when I book, or when I go to negotiate a multi-stop load, I do everything I just listed, but then I have from the driver, what is the lowest you'll do this for? At what point do you want me to say thanks, but no thanks? And they'll tell me that number. And I make them calculate that number too. And if that, because there's some numbers I'm like, I wouldn't do it for that. But if you're happy with that, let's do it, because it might do something that they want to do, right? So have that math ready. What's the absolute lowest? And you should do that on all the loads you negotiate. What's the point of like, I'm out, right? You tap out. And so once you have that number, then you negotiate. Now, if you're at a carrier that pays 100% accessorials, you can tell the broker, hey, list the stops at so much. So you get 100% of each stop. I thought I heard my cat. But that's how I do that. So that's what you want to do. I mean that's what I do. You can do it however you want, but that's what I do, and I have a lot of experience with multi-stop loads. Booking them and actually doing them. So, do prescription loads ship out of any specific regions? Not that I've noticed. Usually the Midwest, I believe. Yep, permit required out of New Jersey. Broker always says you won't need permit. Yeah, don't look. I use the Convoy's beer permit graph because they don't want any liability. So but when it comes to heavy alcohol, that's a different game. Google's your best friend. AAAcompliance.com is also another good resource for the permits that you need. And do not take the broker's word for it. Now, Sean's at Schneider, so he's probably good to go because Schneider gets every permit. And if you're at a mega carrier right now and you're thinking about having your own authority on the spot market, look at your permit book. See what permits your company has that you're at. Right, but DOT won't care what the broker says, but many do. It seems like all the time when I check in, right? I literally hear them say the broker said I don't need a permit. Yeah, if you tell that DOT officer, he's gonna be like, okay, well, he's wrong, and then write you up. Coffee is a flowing. What bag are you on now, Pale Rider? Everybody saying hi to Pale Rider. Everybody give Pale Rider TV some attention, man. He's been putting out some videos. He's enjoying his retirement. I've seen a lot of multiple stop loads out of Dallas. When freight volumes are down, you would think that warehouses should load and unload faster, yet drivers are still fighting for detention. Some shippers scales staff according to sales. That is true. He say folks off to work. Be safe. Gunship. Gunship's one of my favorites. Do you like it, Pale Rider? During the low rate, low volume times, what can you be doing to get your business to be ready when the rates go up? What preventative maintenance can be done? Is your paperwork organized, etc.? Get ready. That's the beauty of February. This is the time to take care of your taxes. This is the time to take some time off. This is the time to get your truck up to snuff. And that way when historically things have picked up in March and April, you're ready to go. You're not dealing with a breakdown at the highest rates. You're not trying to take 2 weeks off to do your taxes in the middle of a good season. And I've made that mistake many times. So I'm speaking from experience of screwing up. So, but that's what you use the low times for. You know what? I ain't running for, $200 a day. Screw that. I'm going to get some stuff done, get this going and get this going and be ready when things might be paying $400 a day. At least coming out of Phoenix. Sort of funny, one sentence we say brokers don't know crap, but in the next we'll take their word on something, right? Stuart, that is absolutely that's absolutely true. You don't know what you're talking about, broker. Oh, I don't need an alcohol permit. Okay, cool. Good deal, Pale Rider. When you run all day, a sand battery uses your excess electricity and converts it to heat, then stores it overnight and heats the truck through a heat exchanger. Interesting. So, all right, guys, it's 8 o'clock. I wanted to go live today because I wanted to go over some weather stuff and some low board stuff. I don't think I did a whole lot of that yesterday. Um, let's see. Big perk when someone else puts my permit book up to date. I will never get my own authority. I'm not that bright, really. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of people that are just kind of winging it, Sean, and you have to choose your battles, I guess, so to speak. So if I lived in Jersey and I could see the alcohol was the best thing to get, um, rate wise, then I would make it a point to get that permit. If I lived in Missouri, I would make it a point to get the Missouri intrastate. So that's the problem with a lot of these mom and pop spot market companies is some of them are winging it. I talked to somebody that said, "Oh, we do Pennsylvania intrastate all the time." Well, you got that permit? They're like, "Permit? What are you talking about?" We have Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Missouri, and Texas intrastate. Where it matters. And if we get a new driver and they're like, "Hey, I'd like to run this area. What do you got?" And then Jeff will get the permits for that area. But it's okay not to be that bright, Sean. I'm not that bright either. I just know what I've screwed up and I know what I see. That's about it. Even then, I'm still trying to figure it all out. So with that being said, thanks for watching, everybody. If you don't mind, hit the thumbs up. For the ones that support the channel, I appreciate that very much. I've got a video coming on this wireless microphone from Ulan's. I had to buy an additional adapter, which I'll explain in the video. But I experimented with this on another phone that doesn't have a case to it. And man, this thing is awesome. I'm going to have this with me at Matt's. So this is going to be killer. And my outdoor live feeds will be a lot better. I have to test it with StreamYard next because I know StreamYard's audio is kind of janky. Like when I was doing that guitar live feed with StreamYard, man, that did not work well at all. So 48065 on the 123 low board if you'd like to try it free for 30 days, and then it's $35 a month after that. You don't need an MC number to sign up. So if you want to get on a low board and poke around and make fun of people in the spot market, that it could be a good tool to pay for and get you some content. You'll text me details going to bed soon. Okay. Sean is right, though. Jumping through regulatory hoops and paperwork is back office work, especially if you want to focus on driving. SST, there are services, if you have your own authority, that will do that for you. Motor carrier and Motor Carrier HQ, I forget it's called, the Holland Assets Company. They do that, and then OIDA will do that as well. So look back at your last March loads. Are any of you like, call those brokers to see if they'll have these loads this March 2023. That's a good tip as well. Very good tip. And that's what I tend to look for those. Like I know and if it's 3PL, it's hard to pinpoint which brokers got that, but for the most part, that's a good strategy as well. So anyways, thanks for everybody that supports the channel. I appreciate you. I appreciate the super chats that I've gotten today. Thank you very much. Hit the thumbs up. Tell everybody how awesome it is. If you think it is, tell everybody how horrible it is. So people go, I have to see how horrible this is. It still gets me a view. It still gets me some algorithms. So with that being said, strength for today, hope for tomorrow, Peace out.